help for Main Street America, because honestly, those people don't care about us. They're the ones who created this crash. So here I am, and I go in and I start this march. I start planning this march on DC, and over a weekend we had like 2,500 people that were signing up in there and wanting to become a part of it. This is right before the Tea Party movement just went crazy. We were all starting to find each other because we were all disenchanted with what was going on. And there were still many more people to join our movement, and that has continued to happen over the past 5 years. But I was fortunate to be part of that entire process. That march on DC, looking out there, standing with the Capitol behind me, or even at the beginning when we had the Star Spangled Banner, and we're singing and we're looking at the flag on top of the Capitol, and I'm hearing the voices going all the way through the mall, and myself and Louis Gohmert and some of the other representatives stood up there, and we had tears just running down our faces. It was the most spiritual thing for me that day. How many of you went to that march? All right, I know I recognize some of you. Because, you know, we only had like 30 people there or something like that. So, over the past 5 years, we've seen a lot of groups come and go, and we've seen some that have gotten bigger and some that have come up and sort of pulled people from different groups, and everybody's trying to find their place in this movement. Everybody wants a place in this movement, but they're not really sure, like some of the, like Chris's statement and some of the others, their speeches, they talked about how, you know, it's an organic movement. How do you organize an organic movement? And do you really want to organize an organic movement? Because if you completely organize it, then we're just like what they say about the Koch brothers, and we're letting these people tell us what to do. And we don't want that either, do we? How many of you have had any donations from the Koch brothers, by the way? I'm just curious. Because I know we haven't. So we've evolved in the past 5 years, running a site with, you know, over 90-some thousand people. And of course, Grassfire has about 1.8 million, what we call active email addresses. That's how you find out how people are doing your site. You could have 10 million, but if they're not active, then you really don't have those members. That's how it works on the internet. So 1.8 million active addresses. Of those 1.8 million people, how many do you think are really engaged in the process? 3? That's a great number. Well, there's more than 3 here, so you can't go with that. Maybe that's in Texas. Yeah. No, actually, Texas did a great thing recently. Were you guys happy with that? Yeah. I told them on Facebook, how about a little Texas tea? Anyone? I like it. I like it. So we've been told that the Tea Party is dead. You guys look like you're alive and well to me. I mean, you know. So I don't think we're dead. But here's what I do think. Every time you hear them talk and they denigrate the Tea Party, they demonize us, they talk about how we're dead, they talk about how we've lost and all that, that actually means you're doing a great job. Yeah. It actually means the opposite, because the liberals are not going to give you anything. Liars. They're not going to give you anything. So you have to read everything they say the opposite. Okay? So whoever's good is really not good. They're bad. Whoever is bad are really good, and they're doing a great job. Now, can we do better? Yes. All right, here's the thing that I have found. All politics are local. If any of you have ever heard me speak before, you've heard me say this. In all the rallies, all politics are local. Do I want to change the narrative of politics and things that are going on in our country on the national level? Absolutely. Do you? Yes. Yes. Can I change from my household in Casa Grande, Arizona, what's going on in D.C.? No, I can't. No matter how much I want to. The way we change it, and I know some people have spoken on it prior to me, and I didn't bring a fancy schmancy PowerPoint or any of that kind of stuff, so you just get to look at my name and a scale. I like that. Yeah. Oh, where'd it go? Okay. Well, the flag works too. The flag works too. So, okay, and if we go by this scale, what we've seen so far is it's not in our favor, is it? It's not balanced. It's not in our favor. It hasn't been for a very long time. And just like Chris said, one of the most important things is that we do talk about social issues. I've been one of those groups because we decided in the very beginning not to call ourselves Tea Party. We just wanted to be a group that people would feel they could come to us regardless of where they stood. But we've always been Tea Party. Does that make sense? Yeah. And so I've heard people say things like you would never even imagine, even from our own side. I've seen the fighting. I've seen the national groups fight. It sickens me. And when they start fighting, you know what I do? I walk away from them. I'm not gonna play those games, even on our own side. I'm not gonna do it. And it's just not that important to me. And I'm not one that has spent a lot of time the past 5 years tooting my own horn about what I am or what I can do or who, whatever. A lot of people don't even know that I was one of the 3 national coordinators of the Historic March on D.C. because I didn't go around talking about it. Because isn't there more important stuff to do? Yes. Yeah. So here we are, 5 years later. For the most part, we put our signs down. What's occurred? I've seen numerous people across this country get involved in the political process. Several have run for office. Some have become campaign managers, like my sister. Deborah Shaw Rhodes over there. She's my lovely campaign manager. And even though she's my older sister, I like that she's my campaign manager because I can tell her what to do for a change. It's kind of nice. I am a precinct committeeman. I hear there's about 50% of you here that are precinct committeemen. Is that correct? Or women's? Or more? The precinct level is where it's at, folks. I'm telling you, from working at a national level, we can organize, we can have Tea Party rallies, we can have marches, but until we put our signs down and we get involved at the precinct level, we are doing nothing. We are doing nothing. Now, I've worked a lot with Dan over here. He goes by Cold Warrior on the internet, if any of you have ever seen that, or might already know Dan. But Dan is a big advocate for the precinct strategy. And actually, he came to me, it was probably sometime early in 2009, and I began promoting that on my site. And I have watched groups across this country who have followed the tenets of the precinct committeeman strategy take back their entire GOP. The old guard just completely walked out in Las Vegas, in Clark County, walked out, gave it to the Tea Party. Completely walked out. That happens because we know there's a divide between establishment and conservatives, right? And really what I call establishment, they're just more Democrats. Yeah. They really are. So here we are, 5 years later. If you're not a precinct committeeman, you need to become one. How many of you have, as precinct committeemen, have walked your neighborhoods? I'm doing a lot of that right now as a campaigner as well, for myself. Is it hard? Yes. At times. But aren't the conversations pretty good for the most part? Because you're not going to Democrats' houses, are you? I mean, usually you're going, and some people don't understand this, is why I want to bring this up. They think that you're going to everyone's house. No. That would be stupid. We go to the houses of the people who, for the most part, think like we do. Because we want them to vote. We want them to get out in the primary. We want them to get out when it comes time for the general election. We want them to know about who the conservative constitutional candidates are. Am I right? Right. That's how you do it. Making phone calls. How many of you phoned for any candidates? All right? Get out the vote efforts. That's all part of what a precinct committeeman does. Now, it's not hard. It's not rocket science. Does it take a little bit of time? Yes. During certain time of the year, a lot more than others. But it's essential. I can tell you that I worked events as a candidate. I worked events all the beginning part of this year. And at the end of all those events, I still needed like 170 signatures and fives and that kind of stuff. And I was like, this is never going to happen. Then I started walking doors, and bam, it happened really fast. So much better. So if you think that it's difficult, it's really not. Yes, is it hard in the summertime walking and all that? Yes, it is. It's harder in the summertime. But folks, this is how we win our country back. This is how we win our state back, our communities. It's precinct by precinct. That's how you do it. So maybe it's too late for you to become a precinct committeeman for this year, but you can go in and help the precinct committeeman this year. Do we need help? Yes. If I want to change the narrative in D.C., I've got to change the narrative in my community. And the way I do that is by finding more precinct committeemen to sign up, because now we have voting power. Now we get to vote for the people that we want to go and represent us in our state for the state party. Right? They make the decisions those decisions affect all of us. So there's really a lot of power in being a precinct committeeman. So if you want to make change, and you want the narrative to change, say, John McCain, I know, you guys probably like him, don't you? Oh, okay, sorry. Jeff Flake. I know, it's probably bad that I call him McLame and Flake, so. But, yeah. So, here we are. You know, I know that people have given you a lot more information, but I just want to be someone to inspire you today that we can do this. First and foremost, we got to keep God first in our country. That's right. We got to keep God first in our country. Now, or at least, for some of you who may not feel that way, religious freedom. And I want you to have just as much right not to believe as I have the right to believe, and exercise that. That's what America's about. You know, we're in the wild, wild west. You guys didn't realize that? We're in the wild, wild west. Now, maybe you weren't all born here, but this is where we are. And if you look at the West, and I had notes, and I was going to read all these different things to you, but you know what? I'm one of those speakers, I just get up and talk. It just works better for me. But I did have one thing I wanted to, and of course I didn't bring my glasses up here, so I need someone to come here and read this for me. Can you come up here, Chris? Don't roll your eyes at me, buddy. Okay, wait, let me tell you where to start. I'm trying to see it without my eyes.
I don't like public speaking.
No, okay, wait, okay. Well, just read this first part up to, here, just read that whole first section. This is about what the Western frontier is about.
When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them to another, and to assume among the powers of the earth a separate... Oh, wait, I'm quoting the Declaration, I'm not reading this.
Yeah, I was going to say
the American frontier comprises the geography, history, folklore, and cultural expression of life in the forward wave of American westward expansion that began with English colonial settlements in the early 17th century and ended with the admission of the last mainland territories as states in the early 20th century. Is that it?
No. Where did you just end up?
Sorry, enormous.
I want you to read this as defined by.
As defined by Hein and Farragher, frontier history tells the story of the creation and defense of communities, the use of the land, the development of markets, and the formation of states. They explain it as a tale of conquest, but also one of survival, persistence, and the merging of peoples and cultures that gave birth and continuing life to America.
Sounds like those Wild West folks were pretty tough people, weren't they?
Right.
You know, this may not be something that is just a West issue, although we're in the West and we have our own issues. But it just reminds me that, number one, we don't have to come out here and in our carriages and our wagons and broken wheels and deal with all that stuff that those people had to deal with in order to stake their claim and become, you know, live the American dream for what it meant to them at that time. We're in a different place, but we still have a sense of that wildness that's going on, and we as Wild West Americans, we have to stake our claim. We have to defend our land. We have to stand against those people who wish to take it from us and to steal it from us, and those horse thieves and all of those people. So it's really a lot like an old Western movie, except that it's really happening to us in a little different way. And I just wanted you to kind of think about it like that, because I know that people that live in Arizona are tough people. You have to be tough to live in Arizona. You can't be a wimp and live in Arizona. You just can't. And if you are here and you're a wimp, you know, come on. Well, come and see me afterwards and we'll toughen you up a little bit. But we need tough Americans to do more than yell at their TVs, although that is a lot of fun, to get engaged, to do what you can. And look, I understand. Some of you have probably done some of this already, and some of you aren't able physically to get out and walk your communities, and I get that. Do what you can where you are. You are who you've been waiting for. There's no one else. You are who you've been waiting for. Now, use that determination and that grit, and let's take this country back to the principles it was founded on. Are you ready to do that? All right. Thank you so much.